guys, as promised, here is a collage of what you want if you want to trout fish. Hi, this is Captain RL coming at you from Northeast Florida and Georgia. I'm actually standing on the Florida line pretty much right now where my house is in coastal Georgia. So we're 20 miles, 15 miles from the Florida line. So we fish both states and also in the Gulf. But today, as promised, as you can see, the wind's blowing out here. You can probably see it in the top of the trees. It's blowing about 15 knots out of the northeast, I believe. So this morning, we're going to show you all the hard baits we're using for murky water and for greenish clear water. The hard baits, Mirrodines, Mirrolures, Head and Super Spooks, things like that. Why and when we use them. So I've got all my spares all in the house, all set up where it's nice and warm because it's 31 out here right now. And yeah, that's what we're doing today. So stay tuned. I'm going to show you all that footage. So let's roll it.
What's going on now in the trout world, as most of you guys know, the trout fish, is the transition time where we go from the fish eating crustaceans, shrimp, etc., and small minnows, things like that, moving into bigger fish. As the shrimp flush out and the other small minnows, things like that, they flush out into the ocean. They move out to where there's warmer water, deeper, whatever it is that each species does that they're used to eating on during the late summer and fall. As we come into winter, that's going to change, and they switch to more of a fin fish diet, and we're starting to see it happen. And in the past show, you can see where I actually brought it up, and then the Mirrodines and big silhouette baits, twitch baits, things of that nature, hard baits, they're starting to be the baits that we're catching the most fish on, even far and above and beyond of live shrimp, which is in the East Coast. Most of the Southeast Coast is a live shrimp is always king. When you start out fishing live shrimp with hard baits, the transition's happening. That means they don't want the shrimp anymore. Their diet's changing, and they'd rather see, a fish silhouette of something they're familiar with, such as a finger mullet, would stay in there late into the winter, into freezing months actually in most places. Croaker stay around. Small yellowtail. Some places have yellowtail, some places don't. It's similar to a croaker in ways. Mud minnows, of course. Some people call them green minnows. Things of that nature. That's the stuff they're feeding on. Maybe even small whiting, things like that. But they switch to a finfish diet, especially the larger trout. Okay. So what I have in front of me, you can't really see here. I showed it in the intro. I have a pretty big spread of very popular lures. These are my spares. It's taken a long time to get this stuff. When you try to get things like Paul Browns and certain colors, you can go straight to Mirrolure. You can go wherever you want. They never have every color at the time you need it. You can't find them at local stores. Definitely, especially on the East Coast, they're not going to have the Paul Brown stuff. Not hardly anyone will have that, unless you've talked to your local tackle dealer and tried to get him in touch with L&S Mirrolure and get this stuff into the store. Because Paul Brown is a West Coast thing, is where it started at. So I'm not saying it's still on the East Coast. You guys know what I mean. So the baits that I'm most attracted to, I'm going to show you. And most of this stuff is going to be for either light greenish water, kind of clear, to pure out, muddy and stained, can't see 6 inches. And we'll start there. So let's just start out with the suspending twitch baits. So the suspending twitch bait, as most of you know, is deadly. And we're going to start with just kind of one of my favorite Paul Browns. And this is just what it says. This is a Paul Brown softing. And by the way, I'm not no fancy YouTuber and have all the special lights in the face and all. I can see my cap is shading my face. So this is about fishing though, not about me. So anyway, that's a softing, and what it is Mirrolure bought Paul Brown, and they still seek advice from him, actually. But a regular Mirrodine, let me show you, I got one loose. This is Mirrolure's hard bait Mirrodine, okay? This is 17 MR, number 20. Looks a lot like a mullet. It's a little old bait. And as I've said though in videos of when I'm using this bait catching trout, don't let its size fool you. It's long as your pinky. It's about how long a Mirrodine is. Okay, they're counter to that with a soft bait. This is actually a soft, it's soft. There's not much of a difference in action. It may even be a little better in the softing, which is labeled again as a Paul Brown. It's not labeled as a Mirrodine. It's labeled as Paul Brown's softing. So, and it's soft. And let me show you the colors that the softing comes in that I use. This is good in clear water. I've caught a few fish in stained water with it, but this one, and these are just my spares here. I got more in the boat that are out of the packaging, and we keep them in the tackle box a certain way. But these are my spares. I'll show you what I do have out, okay? But this is for mainly clear water. Again, some stained water applications maybe. It just depends on whether the sun's out or not. You have to try a couple different ones. Okay, for any color water, especially leaning towards stained a little bit, this color here, this is a softing, obviously. This color here is great, man. This is a beautiful, beautiful bait. The colors really thought out well. There are small beads in these, and these do, like I said, the same thing that a Mirrodine hard lure does. And this one is the SO-09 is what that one is. I don't know if that's upside down or not, but it's an SO, meaning soft, 09. And it's, as you can see, this one has brown. It has holographic gold and silver glitter, black. It's got a lot of colors to fish. In other words, this will color a lot of the color spectrum underwater. So it'd be great in any, you want to try this in stained or even moderately clear water. You'd want to try the SO09 softing. And these baits are so easy to work, they do the work for you. Okay, this is a rather new one, and I don't know that the camera's going to actually be able to express the colors of this beautiful. This is a softing also. This thing is beautiful. This is one of their newest ones, and depending on how you turn it, the colors change. You can see the bead set in the bottom. That's what that little clear tube is, which also makes it suspend. And that's a beautiful bait. And I'll include the color code for this one, the SO number for this softing, at the bottom of this video, right down here. That's a beauty bait. And these softings, people want to know how deep will it sink. It'll go a long way, honestly, but if there's current or anything, it'll keep it up. If you pump the rod one time, one little pop, it comes toward the top. So they're made to fish over structure or grass, anything like that, because they pretty much suspend for the most part. When you start working the bait, it's not going to stay on the bottom. You'll have to run it into something to get it hung. So I'd say fish it in 1 to 4 feet. I have fished it in 4 to 6, but it's not going to want to stay on the bottom for you if you got moving tide. It's going to want to come to the surface. Okay, so that's a beautiful one. And again, the number will be where I showed you. Okay, here's another softing. Let's see, yeah, this one can be used in clear or dirty water. It's got some browns. It's got some of everything. It's beautiful. I hope the color is showing up of what these things really look like. I got a feeling in this artificial light that it's really not showing up as good as it should on a camera. And this one is an SO101 is what this one is. See the other side again, if we can get any kind of different color reading on it. This is good though in any colored water. If they see this one and they're on, they're gonna eat it. So with all these baits, it's easy to fish, throw it out, let it sink, count to 3 or 4. It's not a bait that you fast fish in the winter. You fish it very, very slow. So you want to count at least 4, let it hit the bottom in 4 feet. Say you're fishing 3 or 4 feet. Give it a 4 count. Twitch, twitch, pause. And I like to throw my rod tip completely slack when it does the fall, because the fall is normally when that fish is going to hit it, or just as you start to pop it again. And they hit it when you least expect it. But fishing a Mirrodine or softing is very easy, and that's how you fish pretty much any suspending bait. You can change the action some, but the pause and the length of pause is the most important. Let it sink all the way back down as far as you think it should, to where the bottom will probably be. So you learn to count down your bait. That's what it's called, counting down the pause. So 4 or 5 seconds pause is great, even up to 6 or 8 in the winter. In the winter, you want to move it slow. When that water gets below 55, you got to slow it down. Like, you got to intentionally do it. I mean, it takes practice to actually slow that bait down like that, because you're out there swinging quarter speed of even last month, of even December fishing, November fishing. You're fishing half speed or 70% even less speed than that. You want to go slow. And even with some of these bait, the ones that I'll actually let sit on the bottom for long periods of time, we'll actually put some Procure inshore tournament gel on those, because they sit so long on the bottom, which is what you want to do. It's possible that the fish can also have enough time to smell, even though trout are usually a reaction striker and feeder. When they're ganged up tight, they're like cords of wood on the bottom when you do find them, with the big ones in the winter. And they'll get in the back of these creeks, what I call brown marsh creeks, with the brown grass on the banks. And it could be out there in 4 or 5 foot of water, and if you catch one, there's a bunch more there. So if you can get it amongst them, and you got a little scent to it as well, and you just let that bait lay in there, every now and then just twitching it, moving it just a little bit. We're talking slow here, real slow, slower than you can imagine. The scent will also help, we feel like. It's been proven. Okay, this is a big bait. Now this is for big fish normally. This is a Paul Brown's Fat Boy. You can see I've got this one. This one's kind of made for a darker stained, more dirty, murky water. Can be fished in clear though. I'm not saying it won't catch fish in clear water, because it will. But this is the Paul Brown Fat Boy. Okay, and if you're interested in this, these all start with the label Fat Boy, and this is the 09 color. What you'll find is the digits, the numbers themselves, like the -09 on this Fat Boy -09. The 09 will be the same color as the 09 softing. So 09 and the Paul Brown stuff is a brown bait. Ironically, Paul Brown being brown, but yeah, that's the 09 color. Okay, now the Corky, which is the Paul Brown original. Lots of colors. You just got to get them and try them. That's got a brownish red back with a silver bottom. It's a great bait. These baits are for fishing 3 or 4 feet deep. They will go a little deeper, but they really prefer suspension, staying up top. So it has to be really shallow to fish these. And don't be scared in the winter. Like I said, slow it down to nothing. So your retrieve to take you on a 60-foot cast, if you can make that, it should take you about 2 or 3 minutes to retrieve it. That's how slow we're talking. We're talking slow. He's on the bottom more than he's doing anything. And that's what you want in the winter if you want to catch big trout. Okay, and I'll show you one more Paul Brown original. It's a popular one. It's the Redhead one. He is pretty. And he's kind of stained down the middle. He's got a white back. That's a beautiful bait, and he works well. And this one is called an original 22. And man, it's beautiful. You can even see, if you look close, you see the holographic scales even in this one, on the 22. So the original Paul Browns are the Corkies. That's what you'll hear people call Corkies. That's what they are. Okay, there is a Yozuri bait I like. That's a peanut bunker. This is a sinking bait and a twitch bait, of course. This will sink about 6 or 7 foot if you need it to. You just got to let it do it. If you're going to do it, let it go. Don't do anything, let it sink to the bottom. But know your bottom contours and know your bottom structure before you do it, so you don't get hung up in the stumps or shell, whatever may be down there. But that's a good bait. It's the Yozuri 3D peanut bunker. So if your area has menhaden or anything that looks like menhaden, this is a good lure. Twitch, twitch, pause, let it sit. Feels like infinity, indefinite when you're doing it. And I've got all the Mirrodines. I mean, I've got them all. And this is what usually gives you the hint that the fin fish diet for those trout have started. This is one of, although they'll catch fish year round, when shrimp are being fished, okay, on your boat or any other live bait, and people are throwing Mirrodines and out fishing you, it's pretty normal. But when it gets ridiculous, it's going to usually be in the wintertime. Not that these fish don't, or not that these baits don't produce year round, but the wintertime bite is ridiculous. And it usually starts in December with these things on the East Coast, usually depending on weather and temp, of course. But with these Mirrodines and these softings I showed you earlier, this is the baits that usually make it happen for you. And you'll quit throwing bait altogether. And my favorite one is a black and gold one. That's a black and gold Mirrodine. It's hard to kind of see them in the pack, but I want to take them out. Here we go. Black and gold, greenish. It's got red eyes. It's got some orange on the nose, some red on the nose. This is a well thought out bait to fish in stained or clear water. This one is a killer. And this one is a 17 MR 750 SPG. That's what this one is. Folks, and I'll read it to you again. 17 MR 750 SPG. Okay? You got to get one and try it. $8, $9. I mean, you got to try it. And when I buy lures, I buy 3 to 6 at a time, because if that thing's producing and you keep breaking it off, you're gonna be real mad if you got 3 or 4 or 5 pound trout in the boat and this is what was catching them and you lose them. You're gonna be really mad if you don't have another one laying there ready to go. And that's why I keep all these spares in the boxes, because I don't want the hooks to rust, because I may never use them, but I want them there in case I need them. So another long-time favorite, and this is going to go for a lot of people in a lot of places, from Texas, Louisiana, all the way over to Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, for speckled trout, is a 52 MR, and that's going to be the main color people use. And this setup right here, you don't have to really do anything to it. The hooks are actually pretty good. Some people will disagree with that. That's all personal opinion. I throw them just like you see it, right out of the box. Start throwing it, start catching fish. This sucker sinks now, it's gonna go down. And 52 MR, good bait. Go pick you one out, pick you several out, and try them out. This Redhead works in clear or stained water for me. So 52 MR Mirrolure. Okay, the other Mirrodine I wanted to show you, and it's real hard to tell the difference until you hook this thing on the line. Mirrodines are considered suspending baits. They're considered suspending twitch baits. There's, however, the 18 MR, because remember the Mirrodine, the regular Mirrodine suspending baits are 17 MR. That's their code. And there's numbers after that that are colors and models. But the 18 MR is called the Heavydine. And it doesn't look much different. There's only some weight. It's pretty much the same lure. They're how you tell in the tackle box. You put all these in a tackle box and they're out of their packages. They've written it on the actual lure. See if we can get it to stand up. Yeah. See back there toward its tail? It says Heavydine. Okay, and this one's actually considered a sinking twitch bait, meaning that it's going to go down a lot quicker than a suspending twitch bait. And that's really the only difference in it. And they come in most every color and code that the suspending regular Mirrodines come in. But the Heavydine costs a little bit more money, does for me anyhow, and probably a little more noise, and I think that may be where the weight's added. Not 100% sure on that, but this baby goes down. And so if you want to fish about 4 to 6 feet, you'll want to go with the Heavydine. And again, The only way you can really tell is by the code. It's 18 MR instead of 17 MR. It says heavy Dean back by the tail end of the bait. And so that pretty much wraps it up, except for actually two things. Got a couple more things I want to show you. This is a flash foil mullet from Calcutta. It's a lot like a bait buster, except it doesn't have a split tail. You know, bait buster DOA. This color is awesome. We use this one a lot. This is obviously a spare. Still got the hook cover on it. It's great though. The eyes glow. It's nuts. And this bait is about 4.5, 5 inches long. It's a big bait. It's big and it's heavy. It probably weighs 3/4 of an ounce. And you can throw it and this baby sinks. You got to work it to keep it off the bottom. But I want to bump that bottom, so I like to throw it where it's not going to get hung. So fish that joker slow. You'll catch some big trout with that too, especially in the winter. But this thing works offshore and anywhere too, though. Snook, well, I mean anything. You can throw it. You can throw it for big snook. You can throw it for big trout, big reds. I mean anything will hit that bait. It's absolutely beautiful. The camera is probably doing it no justice, but it's a beautiful bait. Calcutta flash foil. Go look at the selection. They got everything from white to stuff like this in that flash foil collection. And don't let me dismiss DOA bait busters, because I like them too. I just happen to like flash foils a little bit better. That's personal, all personal opinion. A couple more here real quick. We're already up to who knows how many minutes. This is also a good slow sinking bait that suspends. It's about 3.5 inches long, 3 inches long, and so it works well. All right. The other thing is, never rule out the old $1.65 Johnson silver minnow. Never rule that out. In gold. Never rule it out. Silver spoons are good too. Okay, I just wanted to bring this one up for trout or reds here. But one thing I want to show you is a lot of people don't fish these, and a lot of people don't really even know about them. This is called a crocodile spoon. You ever seen those? I'm gonna open this up because I want to show you why it does what it does and why I catch so many fish on it. That is 1 ounce, which is heavy for inshore. But if you keep it moving, it doesn't matter. This thing flashes a flash 3 or 4 or 5 feet from the thing. It's crazy how much it reflects. It's got a holographic decal on it right here. Obviously, that's not hammered. That's just a holographic decal. Very thick and tough decal. The spoon has a very odd bend to it. It's been hammered to a certain shape, so you really don't have to do anything. When this thing falls, you just do a flutter. Rod tip up, slack, and that thing goes down. You don't know what it's going to do. It goes nuts. It goes nuts just when you put your tip up. So when you're pulling up on it, it's going to go nuts. When you're reeling it straight, it goes nuts. When you let it down after a twitch, it goes all different directions. And it's a very effective bait. There's probably some that are branded, but I just pick up the non-branded ones. And that's called a crocodile spoon or a croc spoon. One side's just chrome or silver, and then the other side's got the holographic on it with 1 treble on it. You could put a straight hook on that, yes, you could. And on the top, it just has a snap ring. So it does spin. So you gotta think about that. What you're gonna do about a swivel or not, or maybe a number 12 snap swivel, something like that. This is a reaction strike bait. It will get hung and stuff. You don't want this on the bottom. You want to work this bait and keep moving it. So, but even in the winter, it's so flashy. Sometimes they'll hit this when they won't hit anything. So, Croc Spoon, 1 ounce, real good. It's hard to find them in 1/2 ounce and stuff and have this particular bend in them. But if you look around, you can probably find them in 1/2 ounce. But I like the 1 ounce so you can throw it into the wind. And I can fish it offshore in 30, 40, 50 feet. But for now, we'll wrap it up. Hey, leave some comments. If you have any questions, leave some comments. I've been a guide for a little over 30 years. And since I've retired in the last year, I've just fell back in love with inshore fishing again. We're still going to do offshore for the show, obviously. We have bows for both. And but let me know if you have any questions. I'll answer anything that I can help you guys with. because I didn't reveal a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of this stuff everybody knows, but some people don't. And I didn't reveal a lot of stuff back when I was fishing because I needed to keep that stuff close at the time, because that's how, you know, I made my living during those days. So anyhow, thanks for watching, and you guys take care, be safe on the water, fish on. I'll see you next time.